Chapter 2. Please get to the point faster. If you sent me a simple email asking me what my favorite movie is, you're probably waiting for a reply with, more or less, the name of the movie, right? Okay, maybe I can offer a little extra than a one-liner. Maybe I can tell you my favorite movie is such and why. That's fair enough. But what if I began replying to your email this way? There are many wonderful movies out there in so many different genres. There are dramas, comedies, action, horror, etc. These genres can make us laugh, cry, sometimes in a good way, find inspiration, keep us on edge, etc. See where I'm going with this? Now, how about if I wrote you back with one simple word? Scarface. Do you hopefully see the difference? In the first scenario, I'm doing what? I'm taking you on that journey that I asked you to avoid in the introduction and the first chapter. In the second scenario, I'm offering you the destination, plain and simple, nice and clean, no fuss, no muss. In the second scenario, I didn't philosophize. By the way, I did mention it was fair enough if I told you why Scarface was my favorite movie, but at the same time, remember, did you ask me for the why? You actually didn't, which is another lesson in and of itself. Offer people what they've asked for, no more, no less. Okay, so what am I driving at with this chapter? In the first scenario, this is what so many business students, undergrad and grad, as well as my business associates who are in their 20s and early 30s, do to me all the time. And no offense, it drives me mad. Over the years, I've read so many emails that were well-meaning, but were far too long and didn't get to the point fast enough. When sending emails, do your best to state what it is you're asking for, trying to achieve up front, as opposed to providing far too much of a backstory, and make sure you're clear. I've received many emails like this, and this is not an exaggeration. Hi Al, I'm originally from Florida. That's where my family still lives, and I moved up here a few years ago when I started school. I'll be heading down to Florida for the holidays, and I had booked my ticket a long time ago to get the lowest price possible. I didn't realize at the time, and this is my fault, that the final exam is scheduled the day after I leave for vacation. At this point, if I were to change my ticket, it would be very expensive, and I can't afford it right now. I'm really sorry. Is there anything I can do to take the final exam at a different time? And in the printed version, that last sentence is bolded, by the way. Okay, so no offense, but this email is not written in the most effective and concise way. Here's how I think it can be better written. Hi Al, is there anything I can do to take the final exam at a different time? I'll be heading down to Florida for the holidays, and I booked my ticket a long time ago to get the lowest price possible. At this point, if I were to change my ticket, it would be very expensive, and I can't afford it right now. I didn't realize at the time, and this is my fault, that the final exam is scheduled the day after I leave for vacation. I'm really sorry. If you noticed, I didn't change the structure of the sentences and I didn't change the words. I'm not providing a grammar lesson here. I'm sure many of you are much stronger writers than me. I'm a talker, not a writer. But I did two things. One, took out some information that isn't necessary. And I'm sorry that you may find it slightly offensive that I recommend taking out the part above you being from Florida and your family living there. I'm not trying to be cruel and non-human, but you're going on vacation and it's just not relevant. If this was, unfortunately, a funeral you needed to attend, then maybe the info about where you're from is a bit more relevant. See my point? But it's not a situation like that, and whether you're going to Florida, California, or wherever, it doesn't matter. Number two, rearranged information so that you state what you're asking for up front, and the reader can get to your point faster. Most people, especially in the business world, do not like to read. No, I'm being serious. In the business world, we don't like to read. We like to scan. And then when there's something to read after we scan, fine. But we want to scan to get the gist of the message and its main point. That's all we need. If you want to look at all of this in a different way, this is sometimes referred to the direct versus indirect communication style, which can apply to both presentations, see my presentations book, as well as writing. It's a very simple concept. But in business writing, unless you're playing a more specific role in the organization, most, if not all, of your writing should be the direct method. The direct method teaches us to offer your conclusion first. I totally get it. Oftentimes we need to offer some context or some type of justification on why we are offering a particular conclusion. Fine, put it afterwards. Here's a fictitious example, but one that happens to me often. One of my supervisors may send me an email asking me something like this. Hi Al, wanted to know how you felt about giving a presentation on the highlights of your most recent sourcing trip to China. I brought up your trip in a meeting this morning and the EVP seemed pretty interested in learning more. I know it's already Thursday and the presentation would need to happen next Tuesday. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks, Stacy. So here's how many people might reply to this email. And admittedly, I used to write like this as well. Hi, Stacy. That's great to hear. Yes, it would be a little tight in terms of timing, and I'd also feel better if you and I had a quick touch base on what you think I should present. I want to be specific as possible and would prefer if I had a gauge to know how general or in-depth I should make it. Maybe we can connect on that tomorrow, Friday, or Monday morning at the latest? Thanks, Al. Now, is my email above to Stacy the worst in the world? Probably not, and I probably didn't commit any crimes here, but it's still not that great, to be honest. It can be better. Here's one way. Hi, Stacy. That's great to hear. Yes, I'd be happy to do it and can commit to it. Can we have a quick touch base on what you think I should present? I want to be specific as possible and would prefer if I had a gauge to know how general or in-depth I should make it. Can we connect on that tomorrow, Friday, or Monday morning at the latest? Thanks, Al. I think this is better. First, look at what's in bold, the conclusion. The email has a few details in it and some language that is accommodating and deferential, yet the bottom line is that this is a typical business email and it's asking me one thing. Can I do a presentation next Tuesday for the EVP? The answer to that question is yes or no. That's it, not maybe. So what you see in bold in the printed version is answering Stacy's question up front. She doesn't have to hunt for it. I provided a quick quote, that's great to hear, in both scenarios up front because I want to quickly show my enthusiasm and appreciation. But in the second scenario, I immediately answered her question. And yes, I had some questions myself, but I posed those after. Second, look at the slightly different language in the second scenario. They're mainly the same questions, but in the second scenario, I posed them a little bit more confidently, as you can hopefully see in my tone. Since I committed to doing it, my tone has changed. I'm projecting more confidence and I'm providing my boss more confidence. In the first scenario, I'm also a bit wishy-washy. My boss is expecting an answer that's either yes or no. She's not looking for wishy-washy. So for the most part, in your business communication, use the direct method. Provide the reader the answer first, and then provide whatever supporting info that's necessary afterwards. Yes, of course, you can say things such as, how are you, etc. I'm not trying to tell you to be cold, but don't offer info that, quite frankly, your reader doesn't want or need. It's one of those things that they'll appreciate, even if it's not always evident.